Hey YouTube, so this is just a random video that I wanted to share, honestly, for just keeping myself accountable. Um, Before I went hunting in Indiana, I was struggling with waking up early enough to work out before I went to my job. I work 12 hours a day, and I sometimes work more than 12 hours a day. So it's really tough for me to do any type of workouts after work. So my ultimate goal was, and I told myself this, is when I get back from hunting, that I am going to start focusing on getting my fitness back in order. I had a situation with my elk hunting this year, um, and I really didn't get any footage from that. But I wasn't as in shape as what I really wish I would have been on my elk hunt. Me and my buddy, we patterned some cows. Opening day, in that evening, I was able to get on some cows. I was 20 yards away from some cows, which was the best hunting experience that I've ever had so far, elk hunting. But we hiked back about 5.5 miles into the wilderness, which is something that I really do love to do. Ever since my first year of hunting, I got myself into shape, and me and my cousin went in about 5.5 miles into a different wilderness, an over the counter area. And I had a run in with an elk that year, which was an amazing experience. But I was out of shape. We stayed up there, I think, for a whole day. It was like a total of 2 days essentially that we were up there, but it was like, I don't know, it was a weird situation. But we we ended up breaking down camp and coming back out because I was just too exhausted. Like, I'll admit it, I honestly kind of held my buddy back. Um, and I felt like shit for that. So I was like, and I knew that I wasn't in shape, but I still wanted to push. I didn't end up like injuring myself or anything or hurting myself, but when we were on the way back, thankfully almost every bit of it was downhill, but there was some parts where I had to kind of go back up, a little bit, going down a lot in altitude and then go up a little bit and then go down, and those ups, even though they were not significant whatsoever, I was struggling. I was struggling bad. Um, and I was upset with myself. I started my fitness journey in hopes to be a competent hunter in the wilderness. And, that is an ultimate goal for me, is to be able to hike in 5 miles if I need to, or maybe more, be able to hunt consistently, over a 7 day period, get something on the ground and hike it out, even if it takes a couple of tries or a couple of trips to, come in and out with a partner. I would not go that far back by myself, but I want to be able to do that. And, part of that is lowering the amount of weight you're carrying, but at the same time, you still have to be able to do that stuff, hunting at 10,000 plus altitude, consistently. um, that is one thing that my fitness has been based around, is being able to elk hunt, in the wilderness. um, but aside from that, obviously there's other reasons, like, aesthetic goals, or just being able to do, a good amount of pull-ups or muscle ups, which when I was really in shape, I think the most that I ever did in a row was 5 muscle ups on the rings. So I was pretty in shape. I had a tremendous amount of strength for myself and my size. But my back injury from years ago, it normally doesn't hurt, but sometimes it flares up. I had, right before I did a Spartan race this year, and right before the Spartan race, I was trying to train a little bit, and I think I trained for like 2 weeks, but I pushed myself too hard. And then I knew it, so I backed off of training so I could give myself rest. But I didn't have enough rest when I went into the Spartan race, and um, I ended up getting, hurting myself. More like prolonged strain is what happened through that Spartan race, and it put me down for like 2 weeks. My back normally doesn't flare up. My biggest problem is my nerve pain, which I developed like basically 2 years ago at my last job. Um, driving a semi truck, and it was a manual. Um, but my nerve pain is almost completely gone unless I overwork myself. That's when I do kind of start to feel my nerve pain kick in again. But it's not horrible. Like I've brought it down to where my nerve pain is manageable whenever I do have it, and I'm able to still kind of work through it, but I have to back off a little bit. I'm learning my body. But whenever I do have nerve pain, it makes it extremely hard to do certain workouts. And so therefore it's harder for me to stay in shape whenever I do develop either nerve or back pain. But I told myself, because I don't have any nerve pain right now, I don't have any back pain, rock climbing has been helping tremendously with keeping my back out of pain. And I think keeping my nerve out of pain too. But I told myself after my Indiana hunt, which I just finished, that I was going to come back and start getting back into shape again. It's funny because we just had the time change. I was 2-hour time difference when I went to Indiana compared to what I normally do. And getting back, my sleep schedule has just been completely screwed up. It kind of surprises me that I'm still functioning right now, but I've been getting enough sleep. But it's like, when I first got back, I was falling asleep and taking a nap for, from like 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. and then struggling to get back to sleep at 11 p.m. So, that was weird. But now it's like this morning I woke up at 12:30 a.m. Granted, I went to bed at like 6:30 last night, but still, like, and I have been seeing that, the geomagnetic storms have been hitting, so maybe that is a big cause for it. But the day previous, I had woken up at like 2 a.m. But my day off, the day after I got done driving 16 hours from Indiana to here, I went ahead and worked out. That was my first workout, was on my rest day. And then the past couple days I've been working out. So like today, I did a little bit of leg day, and I'm trying not to push it too much. I'm just starting off again. But I did my leg day, and then I went rock climbing for about 40 minutes or so. But holy crap, it's already starting to feel good again. I love working out. I love fitness, and I love being consistent. Today, I got called off just because there's not enough work right now, which I am fine with. I came back to very little work, which is a little bit worrying for right now, but I'll be good. But like, I just want to make sure that I'm taking the time off, because I have complained so much about not having enough time or energy to wake up on time and get my workout in before I go to work. So I am doing my absolute best not to make excuses. I do think that sleep is important. So, if I'm getting home at 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, so that's 15 hours if I'm working until 8, or 14 and a half if I'm working until 7:30. So that's a lot, and that takes out a lot of time from my life. And I don't care what anybody says. Everybody's like, well, don't make excuses and everything. Well, I'm sorry, but you need to eat, you need to shit, you need to shower. And when you're working 14 and a half hours a day, there's not even enough time to fucking think when you get back home. Like, I even live like 8 minutes down the road from my work, and I still struggle if I'm working that long to do anything outside of work. But yeah, I am doing my best not to make excuses anymore. I actually think, and taking this, even if it's just 1 week that my workload is low, I'm going to take this week to push myself to, work out, like push myself to do resistance training and a little bit of cardio. I really want to incorporate more cardio into my fitness, specifically like, right now, lightweight rucking or just walking, maybe not every day, but trying to walk more regularly, just like a 30-minute walk around my neighborhood or something. And I remember when I was really fit that I had more energy after working out and being consistent with it. So hopefully I can take this time to build my energy back up, do some resistance training, get some muscle on my body again, and start burning some of this fat off, because I am the heaviest that I have ever weighed in my life right now. And that doesn't feel good. I still have strength, but it just doesn't feel good. So I don't know. I just wanted to make this video again to hold myself accountable. And this is just something else that I'm probably going to start posting about, is fitness and what I am doing, and just things that come across my mind whenever I'm thinking about my own life, and people that work 12 to 14 hours a day and how they can do better and actually get in a good workout, not focusing on specific days and stuff. I don't know. There's more details to come, but yeah. Like this video, comment, subscribe, trying to get to 50 subscribers so I can start doing live streams. So thank you for watching. Have a good day.